Well, hello to you who are watching this later. I'm not expecting a ton of talking this time because streaming these is primarily a way to keep myself focused on the actual work. So if you're coming across this later, I am getting some stages set up for the 2023 USPSA season at Castlewood Rod and Gun Club, and yeah, I'll maybe talk a bit about the things that I do as I do them. But if I don't, well, if there are people in the chat, I probably will. But if I am not, it's probably not going to be super exciting for you otherwise. Anyway, enjoy. Hopefully I'll see some of you pop in. Just cleaning up the September match from last year, which was revolver friendly, 6-round neutral. That was a good time. I think we should have a couple more walls next year. I was limited to about 12 in 2022, so hopefully I can be a little bit more elaborate in the stage designs while also not, getting on my setup crew's nerves too badly. This is going to be for our April match, which is traditionally the first one of the year. So I've got a couple of beginning to end themes. So I've got like A to Z and beginning to end there. Just something to add a teensy tiny bit of interest, and also to save me having to think of descriptive stage names, which I've never been very good at. Yeah, that's a nice little A. Just need to figure out something to do with all those shooting areas. And especially to make shooters come to the gaps in the sides. Obviously not that exactly, but look at me. 22 rounds, which is a decent number to work with. Some barrel stacks. I'd love to put some ground targets here in the middle of the bottom of the A, but I'm not sure I can get away with that as far as potential bounces go. Bring a couple of barrels over. Kind of like one there that gives you a target you can take from a lot of places, which is always an interesting stage plan differentiator. We'll probably end up pulling these fault lines a little bit further back, so you can get around the corner a little easier. But I do like having a bit of a challenging lead. This is one where I kind of hate to use the number of walls I think I'm going to need to, just because they're, well, our walls are kind of a pain to set up. I guess there's always barrel stacks. We've got a lot of those. Something I'd kind of like to do with this is have some targets that, so you have to go to both of the middle parts of the A anyway, so you're going to be either coming up and back down or across in some way, and having some targets that are open and relatively tempted to take on the move for those seems like a good idea to me. I've been copying and pasting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yep. So I've got 6 set up. I should place 4 or 5 more, I think. Just did it again. There's some of those tempting ones to take as you're moving across. I'll pop this one out here. Ooh, that's actually, it makes the barrel stack here do 2 things by hiding it from the very back, which is, it's always nice when your props do more than one job, especially when you don't have a ton of them. It's going to be kind of a pain to set up for shoot-through prevention, but that is a problem for setup for me. So I kind of want it to be like, basically, yeah, that should do. You got that there, and you got it from the front too if you want to take the shorter shot. Let's see, let's count these again. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, no, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'll do 11 or 12 targets and make it a, well, not a long course, I guess, but a long-ish course. So I like this side a lot for the low cap guys because that's, well, I'm going to probably put an angled target down there to get me to a little bit more round count. I like when I've got those angled targets to put them way up at the front of the, well, to put them in such a way that you got to go right up to them to get them. Let's visit the prop shed real quick. There's we'll do a sideways one. That's unusual. Maybe. We'll see how it looks on setup day, probably. Okay, so I don't need that one, I don't think, and I don't think I need that either. So let's see, what is required to take from where? So this one you got to take from up front. That one you got to take from up front. That one you got to take from up front. So there's 6 you need to take from the very front. Well, there's probably room for a reload across there if you're going to do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exit 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can maybe hit that again if you wanted to, or take that one. Okay, so coming up the side here, you've got 1 in the back, 1 you've got to take there, or from across. Just make sure that one, this target here, that guy's got to stay where he is, so you can't eliminate this back corner position. This section right here is a fun set of 4 targets. I like that. We'll probably leave those open when setting them up. We don't always decide on what's going to get hard cover and what's not ahead of time. Maybe slap a no-shoot on one of these guys in the back. They're not that far off, I don't think. It's like a 15-yard shot, maybe less, 10. Because it's built pretty far up in the bay. Well, it's the first match back. I'm okay with some relatively easy shooting to start with. This, I feel like, is more a movement test anyway, given that you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, like 6 positions to hit and 24, 26 shots. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 28 actually, wow. That kind of snuck up on me as far as I'm going to count that again just to be sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's 11 targets. And 2 is 24, so I must have counted something twice. No, it's 6 and 6. 4, 6. 4, 6. 24, 26. That's not too bad. I'll take that for a season opener. I don't. Let's see. That's 2 poppers, 12 bigger. This one is no longer a stage. So one thing I've been told this year is that I might get to use some half-size targets. Well, the fact that we can use half-size targets as partials, that they're kind of equal citizens to the full-size ones, that's nice. The option to use small targets as big targets but further away is nice on our super small bays. And this one I think is it's like maybe 10 yards across, if that, 20 feet across, and I think it's 20 deep all the way to the back. Yeah. Do we have half-size targets in here? I'm just going to have to scale one down. Well, scaling down is not too bad. Let's grab just the standard target, probably. I've zoomed in too far now. I'm going to do a super long sketch up, zoom out dance. There we go. Okay. Normal target on a normal stand. Surely there's one somewhere. See? Nope, he's tilted. He's normal. So we'll bring him over here. Scale to half size. That's so cute. So we will move that to the middle-ish. Oh man, this is not components like I'd hoped. Well, it's clear enough what I mean there, I think. So anyway, we're going to use those to pretend to be some far shots on this bay. I should probably text. Oops, I should get those lined up right too. I should probably make sure the club purchaser guy knows that I want some half-size targets this year. So using those, I can make the stage look a lot bigger than it is by mixing them in, and you know, they're a nice little range extender if you've got close-up targets. I think in the sense of beginning to end, like this is called, I'll do something kind of like this, and maybe a middle guy in the back somehow, and one or two that you've got to pass. I can probably do this all with barrels and a cleverly designed shooting area. Or boxes, or maybe a box and some barrels. Maybe better with a wall, possibly. Or I could just make it a speed shoot. It is the first of the year. It's conceivable it could be cold and rainy. Maybe I'll do some setup. Maybe I'll set it up in a way that is thinking of that ahead of time. Or I could save one of those for the June match, which is going to be, I'm going to be working Karyoptics Nationals this year, so some easier stages for the remainder of the setup crew to take care of while I'm away might be nice. Maybe. I don't know, I'll come back to that one and see what I've got left after I pick other stages. I'm probably going to put the classifier here on the third bay, as I usually do. And this is one of those cases where I think I am going to try to pick a classifier that fits the naming theme as much as one that is interesting to shoot. Or, you know, interesting to shoot is important, but I will also indulge my own preferences there. Give me a moment to pull up the browser where I'm picking one, and there. So what's good? The trouble with being so prop limited like we are is that a lot of the new classifiers having like 4 to 6 walls in them it's basically a non-starter. It's interesting that it takes 4 full-size poppers, and that is kind of a lot. We just ran on the upper pad 2 last year. It's a fun classifier, I like it. TikTok, I feel like, has some potential. It does fit the beginnings theme by being sort of time related. Or possibly 2206 buffs a new one out, although not the round count matters that much. It's a low one. I'd love to run Life's Little Problems sometime, but I do not yet have the props required to do that one. Ironsides also seems like fun, but similar problem. Well, I guess that's just a long 2x4 on top of something, but even so. The arcade ones are fun. And the shooting's not super hard. People always appreciate a classifier with the shooting's not super hard. Let's do 0304. What's that called again? 3V. Box. And how wide was it? It's 14 feet wide to the centers, so we can definitely do that. And we find a nice little partial target there. That'll do. I don't need to set these up like I do in like actually accurately getting the stuff lined up, but I do it anyway because, you know, sometimes I enjoy having the like the bird's eye view of the match all match up. So I'm not going to go too all out about getting the spacing right. I'll just kind of eyeball it for now. Oh, that's actually a barricade too, isn't it? Not a shooting box. Plus, setting up the props helps me remember what I need when I do the setup sheets, the diagrams for the setup group. Okay, pop that in the spreadsheet real quick. That is 14 rounds. No steel, no steel. 7 paper to each. Going to be 14 on the other small bay as well. Where does that put me? $54 rounds, so 2 20s will get me to about where I usually like to be, or 20 and a little bit more. I think of some more beginning to end themed names that I can do with the dot dot dots. So actually, I like the idea of, because if you've never seen me do stages before, you should probably be aware that I tend to jump around a lot. I'll have an idea, and then I'll have an idea in which way I want to do something, and then I will spend some time doing it after I've sort of abandoned the idea of a stage at the beginning. Okay, so basically that wall is going to make you shoot 2 targets, maybe 3 targets. I'll give you that far back target from the box and make you leave possibly on one of these, if you care to. And I can do something kind of more ordinary back here. I'll get some fault lines out and use barrels to make you come to the far end of the area. So I think what I want to do actually is sort of give you a place to come in right as you're leaving the box. So make sure that target's in front, so you're obviously not tempted to shoot him before you get to the box. And then so the intention here is sort of that you'll slide across the shooting area as you come into it from the starting box. think I'll probably you'll end up having the option of taking both of those small targets from the front if you want to. If the scaled, probably 25 or so yard shot doesn't feel good to you. What's that from the box? Yeah, it's about 50 feet. Beat my calculator. This is roughly a scaled 30, so I'll bring that a little closer and make you take it from the back after all. These fault lines are all roughly the size of the ones we actually have, so I like to actually set them up in a way that gives me a good sense of how they're going to fit. One new thing this year, I made some start sticks, which is to say little painted red 1x2s we can use to define start positions without having to mark our boards, and doing that with painter's tape as we have done in the past is less than perfectly ideal, I would say. Okay, so that is nicely blocked. Now that is only a scale, like 20-yard shot. Yeah, 30, so roughly a fake 20 yards and a halfway down a 20-yard long bay. And that's fake 15 or so, which is nice. So I'll kind of tilt him so you can only see him from this one corner. This guy, I like the idea of turning him in a bit, so kind of got him as the natural one. So I think the way this seems to flow to me, at least, is you'll start on the far one, leave on one of these close ones, and then you've got 8 shots left in the back of the bay here. So kind of come in on this, and then turn that way to get that guy, and then finish on these two in the back. And that is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's only a 12 round stage. I gotta go fix my... Oh, goodness me, I've had my spreadsheet on this whole time. So, to explain now what I was talking about for the past 10 minutes that you couldn't see, start in the box here. You've got this guy, this half-size target, which is about a scale 20-yard shot. Probably leave on these two. This shooting area gives you room to enter on a target. This guy is someone you can kind of cross on, and then you can finish on these two in the back, and the other guy is a scale 15-yard target. So, sorry about the lack of view. And that is going to be a 12-round stage with 6 targets. Okay, back to SketchUp for real this time. Oh, goodness me, this is an unlisted stream. It makes sense. None of you can see it. I don't think I can change that either right now. Now I've made it public. So, welcome, I guess, to any potential viewers now. Okay. So I've got a couple of stages now. I'm always really happy when I can do something a vague interest on this bay because the fact that it is 20 feet by 60 feet makes it very hard to put something fun on a lot of the time. So I've used 7 walls so far. I can probably get away with 3. I'll use the back bays. So I think one of these is going to have to be a 2-wall, 3 per target stage. Waiting for inspiration to strike now. I could do 3 per on movers, that might be fun. Pull out one of the swingers and an activator. Swinger. I did say I wanted to use a couple more of the IPSC style targets, the octagons, so maybe I'll do that on these back ones. With hard cover, that's fun too. That's going to probably be 3 per. And I will make the swinger swing in from the left to the right. I'm frequently fascinated by swingers that you activate in one place and shoot from another, because people's sort of swinger timing sense is usually focused around shooting a popper, staying in one place, doing a couple of things, and then coming back. And then coming back to the swinger after having done a couple of things in one position, having to kind of navigate a stage a bit in between activating and shooting at a moving target. That's a different sort of skill set than people practice a lot of the time. So that I may do on this stage. So if I do that and 5 other targets at 3 per, that gives me 21, which is a sensible number. I'll use a double stack because one of the nice things about running a match is I get to practice stuff that I feel like I am not as confident on as I could be, and one of those things is IPSC partials, so guess what we're going to see. 5 targets. It's a big bay for just that. But so the swinger is probably going to go in the middle, and it's going to hide behind barrels because I don't want people shooting my nice new walls. Actually, maybe I do something like that. So you've got, so that hard cover's a little bit more in play. And we will move, oops, I appear to have copy pasted already. Move him down there. I think I kind of like the idea of doing this as a single shooting area, roll through it kind of target, or kind of stage. These are our widest bays, these ones in the back, so using leveraging that to put some width in, some side-to-side movement is always fun. really don't need the super long ones there. I can get away with the medium length. Maybe I do something where a barrel is kind of vaguely soft cover. But this is another stage where moving and shooting is going to be very powerful. Honestly, I might not even need that long of an extension. Another thing that I think is too infrequently practiced at local matches is moving targets, and I think one of the good ways to make them fun practice for everyone rather than frustrating practice for the beginners is to put them relatively close. So I've got, that's a 7-yard shot on his finger. That's not too bad. I might put that popper further back. I do want you to come all the way to the end, so that's going to involve probably some more barrels. I don't think I need that anymore, because I guess you can get it from there, but that is also kind of a way to force movement through the stage, so I'll allow it, I think. Yeah, that guy, basically you gotta come to the corner to get him. These I will put up here. That counted right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm real bad at that somehow, or for some reason. So maybe I don't even need that barrel stack at all. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7, 6, and 6. Honestly, that's not as, well, it's not like a super exciting stage, but given proper constraints, I feel like it's okay. So much of what I end up doing as I build stages for my club is figuring out ways to make them more interesting than the prop count that they have would suggest. There's a limit to how much we can set up given the volunteers we have in there, the time they can dedicate to the match. It's going to come a little bit off of the wall, I think, because of the wall brace we use to keep them standing upright. Not him, I want to rotate him thusly slightly. Is that wall doing much? Honestly, it might be better placed like here, and I can use some barrels to take that to take it away from the angle I don't want. taken from. This one is a little bit further down from the thing and a little bit more tilted. Okay, so let's run through this from the shooter point of view. So you've got probably start on either side, burn 2 start sticks for it. So you've got, I think I honestly might like to put this like back here. Our poppers, or activators work best when they are pulling something backward away from the swinger. So starting from the right, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You've got a stop in here where you can get at all of the, well, do you? I guess the swinger is kind of hard to see now, so if I get rid of that, I probably need another barrel on the other side to hide it before it's activated, because there's a chance that exception's going away. Thanks, USPSA. Okay, so basically you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. For me, it'd be a reload over to about here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And reload into the back where you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. With the other way around, you've got 7. You can see too much of that from there, from here though. Which is, I think, what I had that other wall doing, or this wall doing. Okay, so this is going to get a little easier, the shooting. So I can use this wall to make you move to get a shot on the swinger, and it's the target next to it. But that makes that guy available from an awful lot of the stage, including, actually, I guess you can't see the, you can't, from there you could. My kingdom for more props. I'll come back to that one. That's going to be, what, 19 rounds, I think? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 21 actually, so I only need 19 on the next bay. It is 21 handgun rounds with 1 steel and 6 paper. It's 19 rounds. I can count. Oops. 6 paper, 3 per. And steel is only 1. I forgot to show you my spreadsheet for, not that it's super interesting. Up to 71 rounds, so 20 to 4, 20, 22 to 28 probably is a good range. This, I think, might be a fun one, or something I should do more positional, rather than flowing. The rest of the match is pretty flowing, so making people find flow and some out of some relatively static spots might be interesting. I'll grab maybe a mini, oh, yeah, I'll grab a big popper and 2 littles to give me 3, and then 7 to 8 targets. No, 10 to 12 targets. Might be some arrays on this one. But it is a pretty fault line light match, so I can get fairly creative with where you're allowed to shoot from, at least. haven't used a ton of barrels either, so I might be able to solve this stage with some extras. So basically the goal here is to make you come more to the middle to get to those, to get to the swinger and that target in the middle, to let you take that popper from kind of either side, but not from dead on. So this barrel stack, I put it kind of there. You've got the shot on it from the far side and the far side. You have these from here. I can adjust this a little bit to make that slightly better. Bring that in some. Yeah, because I don't really want that one in the back available from the front left of the stage, but then I've got that from there, so it's going to be either yet more barrels or another wall. Or just like a double hung stack of no shoots, maybe. Probably it would be more correct to use hardcover for that, but you go to war with the army you have. Alright, that's actually not bad. Okay. Leaving on that, coming to the middle. There's actually kind of a little bit of a opportunity to roll out on that into the corner. That'll do. Okay, now to turn this stack of props into a thing. I think I'm actually going to take a moment to freshen my... Well, will I? No, I'll just wait. I'll get this done first. I was going to perhaps freshen my tea, but I think I'm almost to the end of what I'm going to do today, so... Alright, let's bring some fault lines in. I'm feeling something a little bit zigzaggy, maybe? I'd like a lot of these targets to be... Well, I think I said something about positional before, which implies some fairly tight stops, which means tight angles to targets, which are going to be guarded by props in some fashion. This is set up for 23 right now. Let me check my spreadsheet and see where that puts me. 94 rounds, it's about average for our matches of late. Yeah, which is 3 steel, 10 paper, 3 apiece. 2 apiece. Yeah, so it's going to be probably some arrays, but I guess that's not so bad. I think I am in the mood for some crossing shots, which is going to mean walls that give you openings looking toward the middle of the bay. This is going to take some barrels after all, but again, I think I can probably live with it. Maybe a big center section for rolling through. I think I'm going to maybe put the poppers in the middle and challenge people to take those kind of on the roll. Grab my fault lines. I'm trying to put an 8-footer in front of this. Make it about a 6-foot opening. I have, I think, roughly room for 5 stops on this stage and 10 targets, so that would be 2 apiece if I didn't do any shenanigans with asymmetry, which I probably will. I'd kind of like to put targets, to use these to also hide targets, these barrels, but I don't think I can because they will catch spall from the poppers if I do. So I think one thing I could do to make sure I take him away from there. And this is going to get pretty prop intensive unless I cheat the shooting area back from the port a little bit, which I think is what I'm going to do. Like I said, I've got a lot of fault lines I can work with, so. What if I kind of go in reverse? How does that look? So what is blocked by these walls? Not a ton, then, because that one's parallel to me. Unless I fold them back in. So this guy, if I move him like that, then I've made an opening I can see some stuff through here, and I can see stuff around the back of it, depending on where I am. So if I'm kind of up close, I've got a little bit of everything. Up close, I kind of have that part of the bay. If I move back, then I've only got this part of the bay. I think there's something to that, so I'm going to start building this side in that kind of fashion. I think I need to move. This wall will have to come even further back if I'm going to do it that way. Or further out, a little bit less angled. And if I'm up at the front of it, I can kind of see through there. So I think that's got some, like I said, got some promise. So for targets, I think I will put maybe 2 back here. I put him way in the back. That's probably accessible from more spots, which I think I am okay with. We'll put a ground target in front of him up here. I'm not sure the target's at. There we go. Get a hardcover one too, just for fun. Okay, so you're kind of coming into this back corner. I also want some stuff across the bay you can't get from other places. So kind of hide these over here for now. I've got things next to, so I've got those basically next to the poppers, but a little bit further out, which means I need some way of hiding them from the middle. Maybe I just make that middle not a middle. And lean on the arrangement of the walls in other places, or I can kind of like tip them a bit so that you've got some tunnels you can shoot through. Turn him like that. That gives me a little bit too much freedom, so if I try the other direction. And I want to move them probably down a little bit back. Which gives me a little window I can stick this guy in over here. Without making him available from the far thing. I've kind of unfortunately taken away that cross bay shooting thing, unless I put these further up. Remember, use the fault lines to control where you can see ports. I can maybe even use one of the ported walls too on this. So if I've got a couple of things that you would have to take on the way back from somewhere, I think this is going to be one of those that I have to supervise the setup of pretty closely on account of all the tight angles. That I think I might like as a double, which gets rid of one of it to place. Partial targets for fun and profit. Also in a place that encourages you to move while shooting at them. Again, always a good time. What do I have for count? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I've actually added any more. That's unusual for me. So there's your opening for those poppers, and maybe this paper. This guy, I think I still want you to have to take from this back corner, which is going to mean putting him right out around the wall. It's not an awful lean. I can adjust the angle of this fault line now to tune that to my desire. This actually does open up a neat little cross shooting area opportunity here. Move him in some, but then he kind of turns into a shoot through. I think I probably just put some barrels behind that opening to make it a little bit less open. I'll make sure they are ones we've already shot at pretty badly. That'll do. So that is, well, I guess it's not fully an 8-round section because you've got angles on that there. This is going to be pretty busy in the middle, so you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Start 7 across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7, 8, 7, 16, 7 is 23, so I'm counting something multiple times. I've already got this from this test. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 over here, which I think I can tolerate. That's not too bad. And those, you've got the option if you want to take them from there. Not quite from the back corner, but yeah, I mean, for 4 walls, that's a pretty good one, I think. A little bit to be done with the arrangement of these guys. So him, he might be one you can't take through the port. You've got to come to the corner for him. Him, I think you have to take through the port, which means I've got to move him probably more toward the port. And him, you can take from there or through the port from the corner. I think that's a good set of options. And this one I can also kind of toward the middle of the stage. Middle of the day, rather. That's not bad. I'll take that any day of the week. And I kind of need to make sure that's a fairly tight area because of the amount of well, it's a shooting area where a stage where the shooting area and its exact angles and positions make a big difference. Let's see if the front versus back makes a big difference there. So you have to come, yeah, probably just gonna have to get tilted out a little bit more or made slightly longer, but it shouldn't make a big difference. So if I were running this, I could start over here. I've got 10 shots from there, except those back guys, I can just leave them for now. From here I've got a nice easy 8, a reload to about here, where I've got guy through the port, guy through the window, and 3 poppers. Then I've got 8 from this corner. Yep, that's a good one. And hit my round count and prop count goals exactly. So there we go, there's the April match. I don't have a name for this one yet, but I will come up with that at some later time. 94 rounds. Some interesting mix of challenges, I guess. I'm especially proud of the scale target shooting over here on to end. It'll be fun getting some swingers out in matches more regularly this year. I'm hoping we can make a habit of that, depending on, well, I guess depending on response. But that's all I've got for today, so if you stopped in and watched, thanks, and if you watch this later, thanks for that too.